wellness revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Welcome to today's program. We're going to discuss the major health issue that plagues 70 to 75% of Americans today and how it leads to a host of health problems. And the real issue is overweight. 75% of the population in America is overweight. 40% of the population is obese. Now, just to put it in perspective, in 1960, 15% of the population was overweight. About 7% of the population was obese. So what's happened in the last 65 years that have caused this huge problem with overweightness and obesity, which of course leads to heart disease, diabetes, leads to increased risk of cancer, leads to kidney disorders, fatty liver, a host of health problems caused by being overweight or being obese. What's caused this? By the way, in Europe today, 15% of the population is overweight and about 7% are obese. The same statistics we had in America in 1960. So what happened in America? Well, first, there are two things that have happened. One, we've poisoned our thyroid glands by putting fluoride in the water. Fluoride is a halogen like chlorine or iodine, and it poisons the thyroid gland, and it poisons the hormone inside your cells that converts the inactive thyroid hormone T4, which has 4 iodine molecules. It poisons the enzyme called deiodinase, which converts T4, the inactive, to T3, the active thyroid hormone. The active thyroid hormone has 3 iodine atoms attached to it. And to get most of the 94% of all the thyroid your thyroid gland makes is T4, which is inactive. It has to be converted. And when you have fluoride in your toothpaste, when you have fluoride in the water, and when your dentist is putting fluoride all over your teeth, this poisons that enzyme, which causes the body not to be able to utilize the active thyroid hormone. And thyroid hormones, of course, do what? They boost your metabolism. They enable your mitochondria, the power plants within your body, to create energy, electrical energy, which drives all the biochemical reactions, which drive all the organs in your body and help you be healthy and well. So as your metabolism goes down, it goes down because you're making less electricity within your power plants. Why? Because you poisoned the enzymes that convert the inactive thyroid hormone to the active thyroid hormone. And the thyroid hormone is like a spark plug. It's like running on an 8-cylinder car on 6 spark plugs. It runs, but it runs rough and it runs slow. So as your energy level is declining, your voltage goes down, guess what? Your weight inevitably goes up. And on top of that, the second thing that causes the problem, if you're filling your stomach with all this processed food that is being promoted on TV and in the supermarkets, all this junk food, you put junk in, you get junk out. And you're eating a very high carbohydrate diet, which means a lot of sugar in your diet. And sugar raises, when you have a high carbohydrate diet, and that would be a lot of wheat products, corn products, potato products, rice, all those are simple carbohydrates that convert to sugar. And as your sugar level goes up, your pancreas then secretes insulin, trying to drive the sugar into the cells. And you get so much insulin that the cells become resistant to insulin. And insulin then converts the sugar to fat. And you gain fat, you gain weight. And it's because, one, your metabolism is sluggish, and two, you're putting too many simple carbohydrates and sugars in your body. So two things have to be addressed. One is whether or not you need some supplemental, natural thyroid supplementation to get your metabolism back up. Get off of fluoride, filter your water, get toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. If you look on the standard toothpaste, it says, warning, do not, it says, warning, if you take more than just on a toothbrush, be sure to contact poison control or go to the emergency room. Why would you put anything in toothpaste that would cause you to have to call poison control or go to an emergency room? Because fluoride is toxic. And that's why I encourage you to use non-fluoridated toothpaste. You can get that at most supermarkets. We use Spry here at the center at our vitamin store, Spry, S-P-R-Y toothpaste, which is non-fluoridated. There's no warning label on non-fluoridated toothpaste, but if you go to the materials safety data sheet and look up fluoride, go Google it, the government's materials safety data sheet, you'll find that fluoride is a toxin, and you don't want to put toxins in your body. So the problem with being overweight is caused by two things primarily. It's caused in America. Now, this doesn't happen in Europe. They don't have fluoride in the water in Europe. And the French eat all kinds of French bread. If you ever been to France, you come to the table, and they got bread stacked up like you wouldn't believe. You go to Italy, and they've got pizza and all the pastas and all that, and the people are thin and trim. That's what I noticed going in the airports in Europe. I was surprised how thin and trim the people look. And that's because they don't put fluoride in the water. It's banned in Europe. So that's a big problem. So we have a problem with having fluoride in the water, which poisons the thyroid, which means we need to take some supplemental natural thyroid based upon clinical symptoms. And we do blood tests, but based upon your clinical symptoms, a little desiccated natural thyroid can be very helpful in boosting your metabolism, but you have to change your eating plan. That is critical important. Well, guess what? Now, the drug companies say you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to change your eating habits. You don't have to get rid of fluoride. You don't have to take thyroid. We've got a solution. Ozempic, a semaglutide. And what is Ozempic? It is a drug company compound that mimics the glucagon-like peptide that's made in your body, which does two things. It helps stimulate your body to be more receptive to leptin, that's a hormone from the brain in the hypothalamus that tells the body you're not hungry anymore. And it also cuts down on, it gives you a fullness in your stomach. It makes you feel full when you haven't really eaten a full meal. So GLP-1 mimics the glucagon that your body makes. So they've come up with a drug called Ozempic, which is, the generic name is semaglutide. And I went back to study, where did this come from? And you've heard of Wegovy, and you've heard of Ozempic, and how these people have had massive weight loss. You've seen the commercials on TV, and all these famous movie stars, they've had this tremendous weight loss, and they're boasting about Ozempic and how it's cut down on their diabetes, and it's licensed by the FDA for diabetes, and Wegovy's, which is semaglutide 2, is also licensed for weight loss. So you take this medication either in oral form daily, or you take it in weekly form by injection. And what it does is it makes your brain more sensitive to leptin to give you a full feeling so you're not hungry. And it also slows down the digestion in your stomach and in your intestines, so you stay full longer and you feel full. And there have been huge weight losses with this drug. And by the way, it's not inexpensive. Wegovy, which is the tablet for weight loss, goes anywhere from $150 to $300 to $400, or even up to $500 a month based on the strength. The Ozempic, which is an injectable, goes anywhere from $350 up to $1,000 a month to take this injection, which lasts a week. And there are some phenomenal results, but this isn't natural. it's interesting where this particular drug was derived from. A study by a doctor named Dr. John Ng, who worked at the Veterans who was in the Veterans Administration. He was doing some research on venom, snake venom and lizard venom, and he found out there was a peptide in the saliva. Peptides are just several amino acids hooked together. And a certain peptide in the saliva of the Gila monster, which is located in southern United States and Mexico, had a peptide in it which they called exendrin. And so Dr. Ng found when he studied certain rodents that had diabetes, he could give them this exendrin and it lowered their blood sugar. Eli Lilly came along and said, maybe we could fashion this into a drug. So they reformulated this drug and made chemical compounds called exendrin, and the name of their drug was Byetta, Byetta, and that was used to treat diabetes. And then other companies came along and said, how could we have this longer acting that we wouldn't have to give it every day? And a company named Novo Nordisk, which is a Danish company, converted this venom peptide from Gila monster, converted it, which had been converted to Exendrin. They converted it to Semaglutide, which is the generic name for Ozempic and Wegovy. And then they began to promote this as a way first to control diabetes, and that's what Ozempic has been licensed to do, is to lower your sugar levels. And the second thing, Wegovy was also, which lowers your sugar levels, also licensed for weight loss. And Ozempic is also used by physicians for weight loss. And this is how it works. What it does is it decreases the mobility of the stomach muscles, and it also increases the sensitivity to leptin in the brain, which, if that's all it did, that might be good. But there are some severe consequences when you try to put into your body some chemical that never existed before in nature, and that is a knockoff of a Gila monster venom. And you're going to put that in your body, and you can expect that there are going to be some side effects. So let me explain to you some of the side effects and why I don't recommend these GLP-1 semaglutide drugs like Ozempic. Let me tell you why. One, it decreases emptying of the stomach, which leads to nausea, to bloating, excessive bloating, acid reflux, a feeling of being full all the time. It slows the digestion. And in a certain percentage of patients, even when they get off the drug, it causes gastroparesis. That means a paralysis of the stomach muscles. They don't work anymore, and you're not able to digest your food. The second thing that it does is that it can lead to pancreatitis. Now, the pancreas is the organ below the stomach which produces insulin. So when you take food in and you have sugar levels that go up, your body inevitably is going to produce insulin, trying to drive the sugar into the cells where it's utilized for energy. And if you have too much sugar in your system, you end up making too much insulin, your system becomes, and your cells become resistant, insulin resistant. And that stimulates the body then to convert that sugar into fat, and it gets deposited. And that's why people gain weight. And that has to do with low metabolism, and it has to do with improper eating habits. So when you take a certain percent of patients, they say it's 1 in 1,000, but it may be more than that. We've only been using these drugs for a few years. We don't have a 20-year outcome of how these drugs are affecting people, but it can lead to pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas, which can be life-threatening. Another thing it also does, they've seen in the study of these drugs in animals, that it increases the risk of thyroid cancer. So there's another possibility. We haven't seen a big upshot of that, but we haven't used, so we don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now or 10 years from now on the amount of thyroid cancer. One way it causes you to lose weight is it's not just burning fat, it burns muscle. When you take these Ozempic and Wegovy, which are semaglutides, that's a generic name, GLP-1 inhibitors, stimulators. Once you take these, they cause you not only to lose fat, but 25 to 40% of muscle is lost. So you lose muscle. And that's very hard to regain your muscle, especially if you're older. And what happens when you stop these drugs, they find within a year, at least the average person regains 2/3 of their body weight, but they don't regain it with muscle mass. They regain it with fat. So they turn out to be, the treatment turns out to be worse than the cure. And why do they stop it? Because it's expensive. It can cost anywhere from, $1,000, $2,000 a year up to $12,000 a year, depending upon the dose that you're on, which may or may not be covered by insurance. But even if it is, why do you want to poison yourself? What's the solution to getting an ideal body weight? And we promote that at the Health and Wellness Center. We want you to get down to an ideal body weight. And how do you do that? Well, guess what? This is not rocket science. You learn to eat healthy. You eat real meat, grass-fed beef. You eat real vegetables that are organically grown and aren't full of pesticides. You eat real fruit. And that's the way you learn to eat, and you eat right. You don't fill up with packaged food, packaged bread, drink soda water, all the cookies and crackers and cakes and all the desserts and the ice cream that we tend to overconsume. And all these are laden with chemical products that adversely affect our health system. So we eliminate those and we go back to eating like our ancestors ate. Hundreds of years ago, they grew their own food and they ate it. Now, we can get organic food. You can get it. You can look around. You can get it. It's some stores sell it, and you can go to farmers markets and get it. And you can get grass-fed beef. You can look in the paper, go online. There are people that sell grass-fed beef that aren't vaccinated. They don't have chemicals in it. That's what I do. You can eat wild-caught fish, and that's very important. And so you want to make sure you get on a good, healthy eating program and cut out the fast food, toxic food out of your eating program. I hope you'll take a look at Becky Andrews' podcast we did for her earlier today. Take a look at Becky Andrews, Bekki Andrews, the podcast for her, and hear her wonderful story over the last 10 years, how eating right has cleaned up her life and made her extremely successful in her business. And she's 77 and still going and blowing strong and has a very strong, dynamic, successful business of auditing bikes. And it's all because she took charge of her health. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Take charge of your health. We have at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center a body reboot challenge. You can go to bodyrebootchallenge.com and you can go online and you can get connected with one of our nutritionists, and we can help you get on a healthy eating plan. We have cookbooks that have delicious food, and you can learn to eat healthy. And it may take you 2 weeks to withdraw from all the junk food you've been on, the standard American diet. You can get off of that and you start eating healthy. And within 2 weeks, after you have withdrawals, you're going to go, I'm feeling really good. And after a month, you're going to feel really good. And you'll notice your weight declining. I have a good buddy of mine that was somewhere in the neighborhood of at least 250 pounds overweight. And 2 years ago, and I've talked to him several years ago about getting on the program. He got on the program and then had there were some car accidents that he got in, and it caused him to have to get off the program and have surgery. And then one thing led to another. He got on insulin, he gained all this weight, and he was a walking dead man. And about 2 years ago, he made a decision that he needed to take charge of his health. And he's about 55, and he did take charge of his health. And he has lost almost 250 pounds. He's down to 200 pounds from somewhere around 425 to 450 pounds. He's down to 200 pounds as of yesterday, and he looks remarkable. He's gone out and bought all new suits, and he said, I'm not going back. I'm going to stay on this eating plan, and I'm going to eat healthy. And he's well now. He's off all his diabetic medication. His fatty liver is gone. And fatty liver can lead to cirrhosis of the liver and kill you, by the way. And all his health problems have resolved. High blood pressure, all these things are dramatically improved. And that's because he took charge of his health. And we have this Body Reboot Challenge at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. You can go to Body Reboot Challenge, and you can contact us, and you can get on the program. And it's a 30-day program we start you on, and then you can continue it every month after that until you get down to your ideal body weight. And when you do, you're going to find out how good you really feel. You talk about feeling good, you're never going to feel better than an ideal body weight. Let me tell you, I'm 75 now, and I weigh exactly what I weighed in high school when I was a high school quarterback. I weighed in at 164 pounds the other day. That was my playing weight in high school. I've been down to 160, so I'm somewhere between 160 and 165, and that's because I eat healthy. Now, I do what is called intermittent fasting. I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat lunch. I have a light dinner early in the evening, and that's what I have every day, and I've eaten that way for years, and I've kept my body weight down. I'm 75. I'm on thyroid. I'm on testosterone. I'm on all my vitamins and minerals and nutrients, and I feel great. And I'm going and blowing at 75 years old, where I've got friends of mine that can hardly even get out of a chair at 75, and I know some that are in nursing homes, and others that have severe heart disease and have had heart surgery and they've got diabetes. Take charge of your health. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. And don't look for a quick fix with something like the Semaglutide, GLP-1 activators. Don't look for that. Why don't you go out and make a decision that you're going to get healthy and go on the computer and go to bodyrebootchallenge.com and come see us here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, and we'll get you on a path of health and wellness naturally, so you have energy, you got vitality, and you've got enthusiasm for life. That's my hope for you in this new year, and I encourage you and challenge you to take charge of your health. I'm Dr. Hotze saying thank you, and God bless you, and may it be a great year for you.
At Physicians Preference Pharmacy, we believe that prescription drugs are commonly overprescribed, treating symptoms only rather than addressing the underlying condition. These drugs offer a temporary fix, but they don't solve the root cause of the problem. Our approach is not about overloading people with medications that offer only a temporary fix. It is so important to recognize that you do not get sick because you have a low level of pharmaceutical drugs in your blood. You get sick because you are deficient in something or because your body is not in balance. As part of your healthcare team, we work with your doctor to restore that healthy balance. Sometimes this means replacing hormones, vitamins, nutrients, or even antioxidants. So how is this different than traditional treatment? Rather than covering up the symptoms with yet another medication, we work to replenish the body, restoring your health and restoring your wellness.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.